Hi, I'm Megan Price, and welcome to the NBA Carousel, a Sideline Sports Network production, proudly sponsored by Score No Score app, available for download in Apple and Google Play stores. Also sponsored by Manscaped, and check out the Inscriber online magazine where you can get all your culture, technology, and sports news provided by Sideline Sports. Let's go ahead and jump right into the show. We've got a special format for you tonight, guys, so we're going to have a debate style. The opponents that are going to be matching up, we have Golden State Warriors rep Steve Shawanda and Memphis Grizzlies rep Will Vogel. Hey, Will. Hey, Steve. How are y'all?
What's up, Megan? Hey, Will.
What's up, Steve? What's up, Megan?
Had a great Sunday. We had playoff basketball round 2. Let's start first with what you thought about the recap of your round 1 series, and then we'll jump into round 2. So, Steve, start us off with the Denver and the Warriors last couple of games.
Yeah, we talked about it last week that I said that, it was a must-win for them in Game 5 because he didn't want to go. Obviously, that turned out to be the case. They won. They ended the series in 5. So they got a lot of rest where Memphis got basically no rest because they finished the series Friday night and had to play Sunday. So I thought Golden State was going to be the fresher team. I thought they were going to come out and, and show that. But I give the Grizzlies a lot of credit. I thought they had great energy in that, especially the first half. And, it was definitely a hard game. But, the Denver series, we talked about last week, they just had bad luck, really. I mean, you take 2 of your best players away from almost any team, you're not going to do that well. That's just how good Joker is. So I'm happy that series is done and we can, move forward to, hopefully a good series against the Grizz. I think it will be. But
Absolutely. All right, Will, you want to recap you guys' series with the Timberwolves?
Yeah, the Grizzlies beat the Timberwolves in 6 games, like Steve said, and they finished their series on Friday. Ja Morant almost averaged a triple-double per game. In Game 1, he had 32 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists. Game 2, he had 23 points, 10 assists, 9 rebounds. Game 3, 16 points, 10 assists, 10 rebounds. Game 4, he had 11 points, 15 assists, 8 rebounds. Game 5, 30 points, 13 rebounds, 9 assists. And in Game 6, he had 17 points, 11 assists, and 8 rebounds. So phenomenal performances by Ja against a good upcoming Timberwolves team that has Anthony Edwards, Patrick Beverly, Karl Anthony Towns. So it was a hard-fought series, and I am also shocked, like Steve said, that the Grizzlies fought as hard as they did, only on 2 days rest.
Right, absolutely agree. So, nice segue into Game 1. Let's talk about Game 1. We saw the Warriors come out victorious, 117 to 116. It was just a super fun game. I think both teams were having a really good time. They were enjoying where they were at. We saw Ja hit the giddy dance a little bit. So definitely was having a great time. Talk to me, Steve, first about what you think happened in this game, why you guys were able to come out on top.
Well, Jordan Poole showed why he should have won Most Improved Player again. It was just absolutely outstanding. 1 point. He actually almost had a triple-double. It was like 31, 9, and 8. So, not too shabby, coming off the bench. Obviously, he played 33 minutes, but he didn't start. Gary Payton, the second, which was kind of interesting. I thought they were going to start their new speed lineup with Draymond and Wiggins and Clay, Steph, and Poole, but Gary Payton gives them a little bit more defense, and then it's nice to have that scorer coming off the bench. So, and who am I to question Steve Kerr? So I was fine with it.
You froze for a little bit. Will, you want to jump in there and talk to me about what you thought happened? You guys had the 116. You lost by 1 point. It really kind of went down to the last couple of seconds. And talk to us about the performances that you saw out of your team.
Yeah, unfortunately, John Moran hit the game-winning bucket, but it was highly contested. So I'm not mad at the man. The guy played hard, and that's all you can ask. Definitely, it would have been nice to get off with a 1-0 start, 1-0 start. But again, John missed the game winner. It's unfortunate. It happens. Everyone misses game winners. But the team played well. John Morant, other than that, had 34 points, 10 assists, 9 rebounds. Jared Jackson Jr. had a double-double. And D'Anthony Melton and Brandon Clark both had 12 points off the bench. So an overall great team game. Desmond Bain didn't do much, which kind of hurt. But other than that, everyone else stepped up. D'Anthony Melton hasn't had these games in the playoffs. Brandon Clark has been really consistent, like double-doubles off the bench, having double-digit points and stuff. Jaw's doing Jaw things. Jared Jackson Jr.'s double-double machine. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And when you talk about double-double, we got to talk about those points because we're not talking about just regular double digits. We're talking about 33 points. Like, that was huge. I think he was very vital in yesterday's game. And even though you guys didn't come out victorious on that, like, it was just a hard-fought game on both sides.
And I remember you telling me, sorry to interrupt, you said, who did you want us to step up in the next series? I wanted Jared Jackson too. I said, absolutely. I want this guy's been putting up like 12 to 15 points and averaging almost a double-double, but I want this 20-plus points. Like hit absolutely. Bain and Jaw. I'm not asking a triple-double like Jaw and having 30-plus points or shooting lights out and having 20-plus points like Bain. Just get 20-plus points and 10-plus boards, and we're in business.
Absolutely agree. So what were your thoughts on the flagrant 2, the ejection of Draymond Green, unbiasedly, I mean, obviously we know you guys, the refs were part of the storyline in this game. So what were your thoughts on that and try and keep it just as unbiased as possible?
Well, you can look at it both ways, but what Draymond did, I'm pretty sure, didn't he grab him by the collar of the jersey or something? Yeah, like, that's unnecessary. Like, and I think Draymond's a great defender. The only issues is his flagrants, his technical fouls. Other than that, he's a great defender. But that is uncalled for. You can literally injure a guy, break his neck, make him paralyzed, worst case scenario. I get the refs were part of the story, but, like, when Gordon Hayward, I know he's on a different team, had that injury against the Cavaliers where he went up for an alley-oop and he went like this when he fell like that. I was like, okay, he's going to, like, paralyze himself. You can't pull at a guy's jersey and drag him down, or else his head, the first thing that's going to hit the floor is his head, and he could get concussed or just bleed from his head and just bleed out. So it was very unnecessary, I thought, and uncalled for.
So I'm going to go over Steve's part right quick because he's going to hop on a little later. Poole had 31, 9, and 8, so he was just a little bit away from a triple-double. Steph had 24, 4, and 3. Wiggins had 17, 1, and 8, and then Clay had 15, 3, and 1. So not just huge performances from everybody except for Jordan Poole, but they were able to still get that win. Steph is the one that hit that game-winning shot.
Yes.
And we saw, while 24 points is excellent. It's a little low for Steph, I think, of what we're used to. Yep. But, I think that his points were extremely clutch. They came in when it mattered the most.
Even though I'm the Grizzlies rep, I 100% agree with you.
Right, absolutely.
Steph can do Steph things.
Right. And despite some bad calls, because there were some bad calls, they still managed to get the win. So talk to me about what you think is going to happen in this series, how many games it's going to go, and who do you think is going to shine? Once again, I'm going to ask you this question. Who do you think is going to shine besides Ja?
So this series is phenomenal. This is the series I wanted. this is a series that looks like a conference finals, but it's in the semifinals, unfortunately. But we'll still take it. The other guys who have to step up are Jaren Jackson Jr. You have to guard Draymond. You have to defend Draymond. And Desmond Bain, keep hitting your threes. Keep just drilling those shots. Take the pressure off Ja. Because then Ja will do his thing and Jaren will do his thing. So if those two could take pressure off Ja, it helps Ja like get better. Like he doesn't have to drop 40 plus and barely eke out a win. Like if Bain could get his 20 plus, if Jaren Jackson get his double, and Bain makes his threes and 20 plus, and Ja does his thing, then the Grizzlies have some fight. I am going bold on my statement. I think it's going 7. I think Grizzlies win in 7. I think they shock. I think they have a little bit of a better bench, per se, because you got Tyus Jones, you got Brandon Clark. Like, I know they have Poole and Kuminga and stuff, but personally, I think Memphis's bench is a tad bit better. So I've got Memphis in 7.
Memphis in 7. And I'm going to go ahead. I'll just go ahead and kind of take the Warriors side of this. I'm going to say Warriors in 7. I do agree like that it's going to go 7 games. And if we'd have been talking about regular season, I would have absolutely said Grizzlies had a pretty big opportunity to beat Golden State. I feel like their performance in round 1, while Timberwolves are absolutely an up and coming team, it was a little lackluster. And so
you know what? I actually agree. Even though I'm the Grizzlies rep, I do actually have to agree per se, because some of the games were way too close. Like you lose the Timberwolves by 1 in game 4 when you could have closed it in game 5. And then yeah, I think this series could have been 4-1, honestly, for the Grizzlies, but it is what it is.
Absolutely, indeed. And so you say you think it's going to end in 7 games. Going forward, who would you rather the matchup be with Memphis? Would you rather it be the Suns, who are without Devin Booker, or would you rather face the Mavericks?
That's tough. Both teams are really good right now. I would honestly like to play the Mavericks because I personally don't think they really have a big man who could guard Jaren Jackson Jr. or help guard Brandon Clark. I know they have Dinwiddie off the bench, but like I said, I think we have a better bench than Dallas does. So I would rather play them, because if you're playing Phoenix, then you have Chris Paul still. You have Mikal Bridges, who's a great defender. I know DeAndre Ayton hasn't attacked the rim like he should, but you still got DeAndre Ayton. You also have Cam Payne, Cam Johnson, JaVale McGee. That team made the finals last year. And even though they don't have Devin Booker, this team is no slouch. This team is still the number 1 seed in the West. And and I know Devin Booker didn't have a great game 6 to close out the Pelicans, but still, Chris Paul has played outside of his mind. Has had, I think, one game he was like 14 for 14 from the field. Like, dude's playing out of his mind. Like, and he's like late 30s. Chris Paul is doing this without Devin Booker, and like everyone thought, it's going to game 6 or 7. They're going to lose the Pelicans, and they're going to go home and say, what if Devin Booker was healthy? But Chris Paul is turning into a machine. This Suns team is a really, really good team. So I would rather play Dallas.
You would rather play Dallas. And I agree. I feel like the Suns absolutely have some better center depth, and that's one
better
issue that
the Mavericks general.
Absolutely agree. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We'll let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you, and we will definitely see you back next week.
Yes, you guys can find me here on the NBA Carousel covering the Grizzlies. You guys can find me Thursday nights on the Sip Off. And Megan, I will be back this week. Don't worry.
Awesome.
Saturday, I am appearing on the Gauntlet more often now because my summer job is letting me have. I think I'll be off on Saturdays, or I told them I need off before 6 so I could get ready for the shows and stuff.
Cool.
And then Sunday, Basket Bros. We talked about Oscar Robertson yesterday, the NBA-ABA merger, but what if scenarios. And we are soon going to be having guests on the show.
Very cool. Very cool. I love talking a little bit of old school basketball myself. So
Definitely check out last night's episode. It's a good one.
Awesome. I will. And if y'all need somebody to come on, just shoot me the invite and I'll come on sometime.
Oh, Megan. I've already told them. I'm like, we need Megan. I'm like priority number one. We need Megan.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And we will see you back next week.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and slide over to our next series. We have Jordan Long covering the Phoenix Suns, and I will talk about the Mavericks with you for a little bit. So let's talk about this series.
Well, we got pretty lucky in our first round matchup with the Suns. I mean, the New Orleans Pelicans definitely gave us a scare. I know when we talked last week, I was confident that the Suns would actually end this series, and they did. Of course, it took 6 games. I know we talked about earlier where it would be 5 games, but honestly, if you look at it, Tuesday was really a must-win for the Phoenix Suns. You didn't want to go back to New Orleans down 3-2, and we stepped up. I mean, we didn't have Devin Booker, but we beat them in Game 5, 112-97. Bridges 31 points, Paul 22, and 11 assists. So a double-double, 8 and 19 points. Cameron Johnson, 8 points. Crowder, 9. But if you look at their starters, they came out swinging. I mean, they gave us our best shot. I mean, Ingram had 21 points. CJ, 21 points. Valanciunas, 17 points and 14 rebounds. In the end, though, I mean, our experience just came through, and that's basically how we won that game. And then going to Thursday's game, I was kind of nervous because would we finish the deal off on these Pelicans? Especially since Devin Booker was coming back. I didn't know how healthy he would be. He actually played well with 13 points. And then you look at Chris Paul, he had 33 points and 8 assists. But honestly, we held the Pelicans in check, only had 21 points by Brandon Ingram. But otherwise, they didn't do a whole lot. They got a lot of production from the bench, but we held them. And that was the key. That we didn't let them go off for 3-pointers. And that was pretty much the difference in that game.
Absolutely. So moving on to the next series, let's talk Mavs. What do you think you need to do in order for you guys to come out victorious in this series?
Well, we played them 3 times this year, and we beat them all 3 times. Of course, the last time was actually a long time ago. I didn't realize it's been since January 20th. But if you look at Dallas, yeah, exactly. That was exactly my thoughts. Looking at Dallas, though, you really have to figure out a way to stop Luka Doncic. I mean, he's basically their Chris Paul. I mean, he's not as big of a passer as Chris Paul, but he's their facilitator. He knows how to drive. He can put up 3-point shots. You also have another guy who's coming off the bench who I loved him at the University of Colorado, Spencer Dinwiddie, who can also shoot the 3 ball. So you have to play perimeter defense. I would even go, and if they're starting to make some, that is Dallas, you go to a 2-3 zone. That way you can actually stop the perimeter threes, but yet you're going to have the lane wide open. But honestly, if you look at us, we have Chris Paul. Basically, that's the guy we're going to run through the offense. And I'm questioning how healthy is Devin Booker. I know in Game 6 he played well, but it was 2 to 3 weeks is what I heard with that hamstring. So how healthy is that hamstring? And if he's not 100% healthy, you're going to have Cameron Johnson, Cameron Payne step up, Mikal Bridges, and Landry Shamet off the bench. Of course, our bench is going to have to play a big role, especially if games get a little physical down low. We have to have DeAndre Ayton down there. You don't want to give these guys second chance opportunities. And also, JaVale McGee is going to have to play a key role off the bench. Give DeAndre Ayton a few minutes of rest. And we saw it in the Pelicans series. He actually played pretty well. But I'm just wondering if this gets physical, how will they react? Because I know we saw it in the finals last year when things got physical. They kind of hid. They didn't really do. I shouldn't say hid, but they didn't play up to the physicality of the Milwaukee Bucks. So I'm just wondering if with JaVale McGee, and that's why we got him, is to actually be a little more physical.
Right. And I'm a little concerned about just the impact that Devin Booker not playing or not being healthy. Even if he plays and he's not healthy, it does seem that the performance that you guys had in those few games without him, it just kind of looked lost. Like y'all still were in the game, but it wasn't quite enough. And we're talking about, don't get me wrong, they've improved a ton, but we were talking about a 9 seed team. And so to me, that was a little concerning in the first series. And so, what I think needs to happen in this series, especially because whether you go up against Memphis or whether you go up against Golden State, like you need to make this series maybe a sweep, maybe a gentleman's sweep. And I know Jay's in the comments, he doesn't like that phrase, but it either needs to be 4 or 5 games. Like you need to make a statement in this series. That way you're prepared and kind of send a message going into the conference finals.
I completely agree with that. And honestly, if you look at it, I don't see this being a sweep. I think we get them in 5 or 6. I just think they're going to steal a game. Maybe in our building, they're going to get one at home, but I definitely agree with you. If we could end it in 4 or 5, definitely need that rest, especially let's just say Golden State wins their series. We know what Golden State can do. And definitely what Will said, you have to figure out a way to stop Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. Draymond Green is a really big influence on their defense. Jordan Poole, I mean, they're a tough out. I'd rather see Memphis because really – you're only looking at Ja Morant that you have to stop. I know they have other shooters, but that's their superstar. So I think the key definitely is to win at home in games 1 and 2, get a game in Dallas, then come home and win game 5 and get some rest.
Absolutely agree. And so how many games do you think this series actually goes? Like what's your actual prediction for it?
I'm going to say 6 games. I mean, there's going to be a game where Luka Doncic goes off, keeps the Mavericks in the game, and they actually still won. I'm going to say they're going to win game either 1 or 2, and they find a way to win a game in their home building in 3 and 4, and then we win game 5 and 6. It's just they're just a hard team to beat.
I agree with that. I think they got hot at the right time. We saw them while Luka was hurt. We saw them fall in the standings a little bit, but obviously they stayed in contention. But when he came back hot. I mean, pretty much 30 plus every single game. It's Spencer Dinwiddie we've seen, but I think that matchup problem right there is what we brought up was that center depth. You guys got DeAndre Ayton, you got JaVale McGee, who's had a great season with you guys. So if DeAndre's not that hot, you can put JaVale in, and he might bring a little fresh breath of fresh air. And when you say physical, I think JaVale McGee, to me, he's an extremely physical player. DeAndre kind of lacks the intensity in the lane, to me, is what it feels like, lacks some intensity. And sometimes I think he forgets he's 7 foot. Like dunk the ball, guy, dunk it, please. Put a little oomph in it,
I completely agree with that. And that's what we saw. I mean, I know I'm going to last year in the finals when teams got physical down low. You're right. He didn't remember. I know he knows he's a center, but he kind of forgot to play physical. And that's exactly how the Bucks won that series. And that's why we brought in JaVale McGee to be a better physical presence down low. So I definitely see that if Ayton isn't on his game and is not being really that physical, I could see JaVale McGee stepping in and being that more physical presence down low. I mean, that's exactly why we brought him in.
And so, I see one of Jay's comments also. What do you think needs to happen in order for you guys to contain Brunson?
I don't think you're going to really contain him. You just have to at least double team him. But then again, if you double team him, then you're going to have Luka Doncic. It's really a tough matchup right there either way.
Yeah. Absolutely agree. And I think one of the difference makers that's going to be for you guys is, second year in a row, Coach of the Year. Monty Williams, I think, is going to be that huge difference. And not to say that Jason Kidd hasn't done an amazing job with Dallas. He's did a much better job than I anticipated, but not quite what I expected. I expected him to do well, but I didn't expect him to do this well. So definitely want to give him his credit, but not quite coach of the year yet,
No, and the nice thing about Monte Williams is he will, especially let's say they steal either game 1 or game 2, Monte Williams is definitely going to look at the tape and adjust. And I don't think Jason Kidd does that as well. He does do some adjustments, but I think Monte Williams is definitely better at it. And I definitely think you hit it on the head. When Dallas actually hired Jason Kidd, I was kind of scratching my head. I know he's an okay coach. He had NBA experience. Did I expect them to be a top 6 seed? Not at all. I thought maybe, they'd be lucky to get in the play-in tournament at best. I know they have Luka Doncic, but they definitely exceeded my expectations.
Absolutely. Well, good luck on your games this week, on this matchup, and prepare for the next matchup, because that's where it's going to be super tough for you guys. I do think this is going to be a tough matchup, but I agree. I'm actually not going to take the Maverick side on this. I do think you guys come out victorious. I'm going to say 6 games, but I would like to see you guys do it in 5.
I completely agree with you.
Awesome. Well, Jordan, thank you so much for coming on, and let everybody know where they can find you and where they can follow you.
You can find me here on the NBA Carousel doing the Phoenix Suns. Follow me on Twitter at SportsScoop1. On Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 11 p.m. Eastern Time, we have Cubfidential, just a show about the Chicago Cubs. We are going to cover, I'm going to cover the Steve Bartman incident. So just a little bit of what we're going to talk on there tomorrow. You can also read my blog that I write Mondays through Thursdays with podcasts on Friday. It's at sports-scoop.com.
Thank you so much, Jordan. We'll see you back next week. All right, guys, we're going to have something special for you. We have a first-time appearance for you guys. We got Jahan Phillips in the building. What's up, Jahan?
What's up? How are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Awesome.
A little busy, but par for the course.
Same. All right, so let's talk about this Miami series. Miami versus Philly. They're playing right now.
Yeah, as we speak, Miami jumped out hot. But, Philly climbed back, which is shocking because with the Embiid injury, I expected Miami sweep. Now, as you can see, I'm trolling right now with the Marlins stuff on. It's what I do. Right. What I do best, though, is troll. But we got a couple mutual Sixers fans. I would love to see the Sixers actually lose this series, but they're shocking me right now. The fact that they're even in it. Harden's gonna have to carry the Sixers this series. We don't know if we're gonna see Embiid. Doc was saying games 3 or 4, maybe potentially. So they got a chance to steal one right now with Kyle Lowry out, and Kyle Lowry's out to the 4th at the earliest. Is what they're saying. So
Embiid is on concussion protocol. Is that correct?
Yep, concussion protocol and the orbital fracture. So,
okay.
Which Doc Rivers is taking a lot of heat for this, and I think rightfully so. That you're up 29 and your star is still in the game, and he takes a shot. But a lot of people are like, well, Raptors still had their starters in. Well, they're down 29, and this is a potential closeout game. So what do you expect?
Right. Yeah. I agree. I was pretty critical of Mike Malone also of the Jamal Murray injury. I felt like it wasn't winnable at that point in time for them, and there was really no reason for him to be in the game. But I mean, injuries can happen at any time. So
yeah, injuries are fluke. Injuries are fluke. You never know when the injury bug will strike. So I mean, it's easier to hindsight's 20/20. It's easier to say what you should have done or what you shouldn't have done when it happens.
Right.
So
completely agree. So currently, let me look right here. It says it is 45-50 with 2:45 left in the second. Who do you think wins game 1?
I had Miami sweep. when I did my predictions. But
Okay.
this is the chance for Philly to steal one. If they're gonna steal any, this is the one. I don't know though. I'm still gonna stick with my Miami sweep. So by that, Miami wins game 1.
Okay. Well, and it's just such a drastic change because I know a lot of us had the Sixers going to at least the Eastern Conference Finals. I thought it was a very good possibility as long as Embiid was on the court, that it was a very good possibility.
You had them in your East Finals?
Before the playoffs started, I had Philly going to the Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah.
Okay.
But once the playoffs started, it was a little adjusted.
So I can't say I ever trusted them that much to where I had them in my East Finals. I definitely could see who I had in my East Finals, but that's neither here nor there. They're the only team that didn't win a playoff game. So
yeah, Jen is producing. She's in the background laughing right now, just a little bit. So right now, you said that Harden's going to have to carry the team. Harden only has 10 points. Their high scorer right now is Tobias Harris. And on the other side of things, Bam has 12, Butler has 11, Harrow has 12. I just feel like the Sixers are absolutely outmatched if Embiid is not on the court. And relying on someone like Harden to carry you in the playoffs, he can get you to a conference finals. He's not getting you to the finals.
But that's what they're aiming for right now. Look, conference finals. Harden's got to put the team on his back. Maxi's definitely got to put the team on his back. I'm glad that Tobias is stepping up though, because I feel like his last series was not his usual. So I'm glad to see that he's actually taking more of a leadership role. It is what it is though. Harden, you got to rely on him. This is what you came to Philly to do. This is what you came to Philly to be. It was championship or bust aspirations. A lot of Philly fans will claim that they didn't say that, but it was definitely some title or bust talk when they got Harden.
It was.
Yeah, so they'll backtrack on it now, but at the same time, this was what he was brought to Philly to do.
Does Doc go on the hot seat if they lose this series?
Doc saved himself by not choking a 3-0 lead or a 3-1 lead. So he saved himself. I think he bought himself at least a year, regardless of the outcome, because he didn't lose in a 3-1 fashion or in a 7-game fashion being up 3-1. So I don't know. It's hard to say. They're gonna go to it and say, well, we weren't firing on all cylinders with Embiid out for the start of this series. It's hard to say. I personally think he bought himself another year. So we'll see. And who's out there? Who's out there right now? You see, Charlotte hasn't jumped the gun on their coaching yet.
Right.
So
they still have some time.
Yeah, but right now, everybody's
NBA missed out though. Becky went back to the W. Dawn Staley signed her extension. Dawn's not leaving South Carolina. Becky left the NBA. So I think the NBA kind of missed out on that opportunity right there to restart their franchises with one of those ladies.
They're lost, especially Charlotte. Charlotte definitely should have jumped on that Becky Hammond train, but neither here nor there.
And when we talk about James Harden a little bit as well, I think we're a little bit removed from James Harden in conference finals. Last season, he had that hamstring injury, and I'm not critical of him from last season at all. I felt like they looked incredible with him at the 1, and even without KD, and it was him and Kyrie, they still looked amazing. And we haven't seen that since that injury. And I'm not critical of that injury because I believe he's really, really hurt. Harden is notoriously healthy. But for most people that don't watch them, he's healthy. He's on the court almost all the time. And so for him to struggle with that 6 to 7 months like he did, I think that was huge. I don't know if he's ever actually fully recovered. And then to come over to Philadelphia, the mix doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel cohesive.
Right. It felt off. It felt all except for the initial. Remember the initial?
Right. No, like the first 6 games or so,
Yeah,
it seemed like
they
it
were
was
on
right.
fire,
And then it
and
hasn't been
it
right
looked
since then.
It looked so good though. It looked like, okay, this was the duo that everybody thought it was gonna be.
Right.
Like it was like people were calling it the best duo since Kobe and Shaq. Or like
No.
but I mean that was the kind of talk they were getting. That was kind of talk they were getting because he came out and I feel like he was doing 30-point triple doubles like nightly initially. And I don't know, somewhere along the line, it's just not manifested. It hasn't. And I think even
is that on the players or is that on Doc?
I think I don't know. See this because I'm not sold on Doc. I'm not sold on Doc's coaching, but at the same time, I don't know because it takes a long time. I feel like to get that cohesion.
Okay.
Look at Boston. They have it now. Look at Milwaukee. They have it now. I just think it takes time, and that's why.
Okay, so bringing up that series, who do you think Miami should have to face in the next round, and who's the best matchup?
Best matchup for them is Milwaukee. Especially if you don't see Middleton for the rest of the year, the best matchup for them definitely Milwaukee. But Giannis is on another level, and I don't know. Like it's hard to say what who they would rather see because Giannis just gave a 21-point triple double yesterday. So it's definitely hard to say. It's hard to say who or what they would rather see because Boston is the best defensive team in the league. And Miami is not healthy. Miami's not healthy either, but then again, it's playoffs. Who is 100% healthy? So I don't know. Personally, I would rather see Milwaukee because the no Middleton thing, but Giannis is going to be the best player on any Eastern Conference court, floor, whatever. So it really doesn't matter. Milwaukee has the best player in the entire conference.
And real quick, do you want to call your finals matchup, or you don't want to put it out there yet?
I'm gonna go Dub Celtics.
Okay, Dub Celtics.
I think Celtics bounce back, get them, definitely get it together. Game 1 was an anomaly. So
okay,
we're gonna take advantage of this no Middleton thing. I feel like.
Okay, all right. I'm actually gonna say Dubs Bucks.
Dubs Bucks.
That's where I'm at with it.
All right.
They looked stunned yesterday. Boston looked stunned, and I think that I've been saying this for a little bit of the season. I think Milwaukee looks a little bit better without Middleton on the court. I think their rotations look a little bit better without him.
Can you imagine
in this matchup? Not saying that Chris Middleton isn't talented, but in this matchup, I think they look better without him.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And they did yesterday, so I mean,
indeed,
the proof is there. Yesterday they looked phenomenal for long stretches of that game too. It wasn't even like Bobby Portis played a phenomenal game. Drew Holiday was good yesterday.
Absolutely agree.
They brought it. They brought everything. But that's to say this too, though. Jaylen Brown didn't have a good game yesterday. So we've yet to see this series, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown both having a good game. So when you see that, Boston's gonna look way different.
Okay, well, we shall see. Thank you so much for coming on and let everybody know where they can follow you, find you.
Part-time public figure everywhere. You can find me Thursday nights on the Sip Off, hosted by Megan Price, myself, and Anthony Brown. Occasionally on Cage Raiders episodes once a month. And
Anthony's in the comments. He said he thought it was the Sip Off.
And where I'm needed. So.
Where you're needed. Thank you. We appreciate that so much. And if you ever want to come back on, just let me know.
I appreciate you.
Thanks, John.
No problem.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move over to our next matchup debate. We have Cool McCain covering the Milwaukee Bucks. What's up, Cool? We have Jim,
What's
the
going on?
producer, covering the Boston Celtics.
What's up? How are y'all?
How's everybody's
What's
week going?
up? It's the beginning of the week. It sucks, but we're on the carousel, so it's all good.
Mondays.
Exactly.
Yes, trash day.
Right. Except for this hour.
Except for this time, exactly.
Let's talk. Finishing up your series from the first round. Talk to me about how your first round ended up the last game, and then we'll move on to round 2. So, Jen, you want to start us off with Boston?
Definitely ladies first. Gotta let the ladies go first. So Jen first, of course.
Thank you, Cole, because you're gonna probably eviscerate me. But we obviously swept the Nets, and Jahan, I appreciate that very much out of your mouth. I just want you to know. And you're right. Like you and Jahan were just saying, Jalen wasn't having a great game yesterday. Jason wasn't having a great game yesterday. But you know what? It's okay. I'll take that first L because we got it out of the way. Now we're gonna win. That's all I know. Because Horford's still doing Horford things. Marcus Smart was injured. And he got a standing O when he came back in for the second quarter. So I think that we're going to do much better. Robert Williams has already said that he's going to be making life a little more difficult on Mr. Lopez. So, and even coach has said it's a good thing they lost yesterday. It made them a little humble. Now they can get back to doing Celtics things.
Alrighty. And I also just want to chime in real quick. It was so gross to see that injury.
Yeah.
Marcus, he was just ran off the court. His arms just like this. Oh, it was gross. But glad to see him come back and that he was able to finish out the game. All right, cool. Let's talk about series 1 or round 1 and how that finished out.
Well, Milwaukee was clearly, the better team, right? No disrespect to Chicago, but they were missing a piece, and Milwaukee's a well-oiled machine. Milwaukee has the perpetual chip on their shoulder because as the reigning and defending champions, they don't get respect, right? There are no major moves for Milwaukee. Still pretty much the same team minus PJ Tucker, and don't get any respect. Everybody's like, oh, Milwaukee's going to lose. They may not even beat Chicago. They're going to lose to Boston. If they beat Boston, they're going to lose to Miami or Philadelphia, and it's like, I've never seen. So it's twofold here for me, real quick. So I've never seen, number one, a reigning and defending MVP that had a better season get less respect to Jokic, and I've never seen a reigning and defending champ who's actually in the same position they were last year, the third seed, get more disrespect. So it's like, I understand that there's other teams, you think other teams are good, but a lot of people are not giving the reigning and defending champs a chance, and it's like, dude. Or ma'am, what have you been watching? Right? And, I will grant Jen and Mr. Phillips that, they may not have scored Boston as many points as they normally do. But I also want to point out that Giannis averages over 30 points in the playoffs, and he only had 24. Mm-hmm. So he didn't score as much as he usually does either. Lopez only had 6, and he's been having some really great games. Grayson Allen, since the injury to Chris Middleton, has averaged 23 points, and he only had 11 points. So while there are facts that Jaylen Brown didn't score as much as he normally does, there were multiple main pieces on the Bucks that didn't either. So just a little snippet to keep in mind. I expect this to be a 6 or 7 game series. I actually expect it to be a 6-game series with Milwaukee winning in 6. I don't think Boston is going to lay down after losing in game 1. Especially since they're the home team. It's really important for them to win, game 2. Mm-hmm. You don't want to go to Milwaukee down 0-2, right? Milwaukee getting the split and, there is perfect. That's all Milwaukee really wants. All Milwaukee really wants to do is win one of the 2 games in Boston. Now, obviously winning both is even better, but as long as you can get one of those 2 and get home court advantage, it's kind of what you want. But while you got the foot on the throat, you don't kind of want to take it off because Boston is a team that can turn it around.
Absolutely. We're talking about a team that's got the number one defense. Y'all know, everybody on the show knows how important I think defense is, and especially in the playoffs. So I definitely agree with what you have to say, Cool. I don't think that Boston's going to lay down. I think this is very possibly a 7-game series. I do think Milwaukee comes out on top, but I feel like that is and this kills me to say this, maybe a little bit more coaching experience.
Right. I don't want to talk about coaching.
They both came from Pop. So just love to shout out the Spurs a little bit. But I think that not just Budenholzer, but the whole staff. Like, I feel like they have a little more experience with this particular team and how to deal with injuries. Whereas Boston is still kind of finding themselves with this rookie coach who has done an absolute amazing job. So, shout out to what he's done since the All-Star break and a little bit before the All-Star break, actually, and just in his rookie season. Like, he made it come together.
Yeah, Ducker's been a big part of their success for sure.
I agree.
And I'll say this. I do think it'll be a 7-game series. I really think the Celtics will win in 7. But I do also think it'll be a tight game 7. I really 100% do. Cool, I'll say this. If you guys end up on top, y'all going to win the championship again. If we beat you guys,
I think you got a good chance to win a championship as well. I agree with that.
Yeah, I think that. I think like where our series right now is a good reflection of the championship game, championship series. Just my humble opinion.
I agree with that. The East was much more competitive this season. While I will say this, though, it kind of depends on what goes on with Phoenix. But as far as round 3, let's say each one of your team wins, right? Who do you want to face in round 3?
I'd rather face the 76ers because this season we've kind of had their number and I'd like to take them out.
Okay.
No offense, James. No offense, Tony. No offense, Eric. No offense to any of my 76ers fans. But it's where I'm at.
Okay. All right, cool. Who would you rather face?
I don't have a preference. I don't have a preference because I don't think either one of them could beat us in a 7-game series. I think the point where we would miss.
You don't think Miami has it in them?
No, I don't think either one of those teams could beat us in a 7-game series. And I'll simply say this, and I say this every series: who's going to stop Giannis?
Yeah, well, I mean that's a bit.
If you can't stop Giannis, you can't beat Milwaukee in a 7-game series. You can stop him for a game, you can get him in foul trouble, you can get him off his game a game or two because that's Giannis. That's what happens. But in a 7-game series, you cannot get him off his game 4 games. You got to get him off his game 4 games to beat the Milwaukee Bucks. And that's the reason why I feel like it doesn't matter who they play. Especially if you're going to have Philadelphia, especially if it's Philadelphia with an injured Embiid, that he's not going to be 100% if he's able to play again, the rest of the season. Miami, they have spurts where they're really good, but then they have spurts where they really don't play good interior defense. And if you're going up to the Milwaukee Bucks and you're not playing in good interior defense, ask Boston what happens when you don't play defense. Ask Chicago what happens when you don't play interior defense. If you don't play interior defense, if you can't stop Giannis in the paint, Lopez in the paint, Bobby Portis in the paint, if you can't stop those guys in the paint, you're not going to win a series against Milwaukee. Until somebody does it, it can't be done. So that's that's just my feeling. So I'm not concerned about either one.
Defense was on fire yesterday. Like y'all brought literally the full court press. Literally the full court press.
Yep. And I'll say, like Megan said earlier, for this series, because of the way that you guys play, I think it's better that Middleton sits out. So I think they realized that before the series and say, you know what, man, sit down, just relax, enjoy the game, watch. We got this one without you. If we get like to a game 7 and it's looking ugly, we'll put you in. But right now, just relax and let us go ahead and handle this. Get your MCL some rest.
And Jen, real quick before we end it, tell me why Boston's going to win this series.
I honestly think it'll be more shock and awe value. just because the Celtics are not giving up. They're keeping that positive mentality. And like, I know it sounds so trite, but I really feel I think it's that. I think we've got Jason Tatum, who, had an off game yesterday. Jaylen Brown had an off game yesterday. You know what? Everybody has a bad day at work. I had a couple in the past year myself. So, but you know what happens? When I come back to work the next day, I bang it out, let me tell you. So, and I'm pretty sure that professional athletes have slightly more competitive nature than I do. Maybe not much, but a little bit.
Awesome. All right, guys, y'all go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you or they can follow you. And thank you so much for coming on and talking this series with us.
Cool. You go first.
No, ladies always go first.
Thank you. So on Tuesday nights at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 Central, we've got Three Chicks in a Pod with Carrie Johnson and the Queen of Hoops, Miss Megan Bryce herself. And our logo was done by Mr. Cole McCain. Thank you again, kind sir. Then Tuesday nights at 11 o'clock Central or Eastern Time, Central Time would kill me. 10 p.m. Central, we have Confidential with J.B. Ellis, Jacob Christner, Jordan Long, Jay Nielsen. And then on Thursday nights, there's Pundit with Jacob Christner and myself. And I am on the Sip Up on occasion and on the Gauntlet 2 weeks ago. So thank you so much.
All right. So for me, it's just a couple of quick paces this week, guys. You can find me on Twitter at Cool McCain. On Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. You can catch me. Just simply go to YouTube, type in Eagles Elite Podcast. And you're going to see a wonderful logo come up. And you're going to see this lovely face. If you think it's lovely. If you don't, this ugly face. And you'll know you're at the right place. And then on Friday nights, shout out my co-host. You can find him on Twitter at Box Talk Sports, Stephen Box and me. The undisputed tag team champs of Interactive Sports Talk, playcallersportstalk.com, 7 p.m. on Fridays.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all so much, and we will see y'all back next week.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, we're going to do a little recap of the first series that we have. We have Steve Shawanda covering the Golden State Warriors. Hey, Steve, welcome back.
Hey, Megan, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me back. You know, I was
absolutely
trying to get back home after my son's baseball game and thought I was in a good enough area, but apparently not.
It happens. No worries at all. So let's talk what you thought about game one, and then what do you expect out of this series?
Yeah, I thought that the Warriors were going to win game one. But I put it on our group chat that I thought they were going to win games 1, 3, 4, and 6, and win the series in 6. I stand by that. Though during the game, I did mention this is once Draymond got ejected right before halftime, I thought it was a must win for Memphis. And with Golden State holding on, it really not holding on. They came back and then one by one. I thought that was huge for them. But again, Memphis had a quick turnaround, so Golden State was well rested. So, but really what it happened in this game shows why I think that the Warriors, like I agree with everybody else I've been hearing, is that the Warriors are going to represent the West, is because Clay was 3 for 10 from 3. And, you know, and even Steph was 5 for 12, you know, and Jordan Poole was still 5 for 10. So it's not like any of them went off, but one of them has an off day. You know, Clay had an off game. Wiggins was 1 for 5 from 3, but they have so many other pieces. They got great minutes from Kevon Looney. They got great minutes from Kuminga. You know, Porter didn't score much, but he had 8 rebounds in his minutes. So they're just a better complete team, and that's why. And I'm sorry, I'll do this out of order, but that's why I do think it's going to be Warriors Bucks in the finals. Because the champs until someone beats them, and I think
I agree.
I think Golden State knows that everything kind of happened right for them this year. Like besides Wiseman getting hurt, of course, being out all year. Besides Wiseman being out all year, all their other injuries.
Oh, Gary Payton Jr. had that poster.
Oh yeah, yes he did. He had a great dunk, absolutely. But yeah, like everything happened for them besides Wiseman's injury. Everything's happened for them right. You know, they've had it, but they've got everybody back at the right time. So I just kind of feel like it's kind of their year, and this is their best chance to do it. So, and it's also interesting. I don't know. I'm sorry, going to drive it if you talked about it with Will, but you know, obviously game 2 is tomorrow. Game 3 is not till Saturday. Like,
we saw this in the first round too, that there were a couple of series that had like a 4-day break.
Yeah, it's literally Sunday, Tuesday, Saturday, Monday. You know, and you're just like, oh. And I get it. You want that game on the 30 ABC primetime. You know, I get it. John Morant's money and Warriors. But man, not until I was looking at that, I was like, is that actually true? Not until Saturday? Oh, but
so you think this kind of kills your steam a little bit?
Well, actually, I think it's going to help the Warriors because I do think Memphis is going to win tomorrow to tie the series. Okay. And I think that's going to then refocus Golden State because they'll have 3 days for, you know, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of everyone talking about how John Morant, see the Warriors are beatable, blah, blah, blah. When really Golden State already did what they were supposed to do, right? You want to get home court back. They got home court back. So now the worst you could do is the split. Like I'll say right now, if they win tomorrow, it's going to be a sweep. I'll tell you, I guarantee it will be a sweep if they win tomorrow. I don't think they're going to win tomorrow. I think Memphis is going to win. And then I'll stay with my prediction. I think Golden State wins 3 and 4, and Memphis wins 5, and Golden State wins in 6. You know, so I'll stick with my pre-series prediction. But yeah, I think they get one tomorrow. I really do. Obviously, I hope I'm wrong. I hope Golden State wins every game. But just being honest and fair, you know, John Morant's amazing, and that crowd gives you energy. I thought overall, I thought the crowd was great from beginning to end for Memphis. And you know, they hadn't been in the playoffs in a long time. You know, in a true, like, meaningful second round playoffs, of course, is what I mean. Like making, you know, past the first round in a really long time. So that was arguably the most important game that Memphis has ever hosted. So, you know, I thought they had great energy. I thought it was a good game. But when Jordan Poole, and that's the thing, Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry, one of those three, well, they could be struggling, but the other two are going to pick up the slack. So you always have at least 2 of the 3 going. And if all 3 of them are, you know, 1 for 10 from 3, you know, then maybe Wiggins goes off for 25. You know, so they're just
it's very possible that, I mean, it can happen. And so, okay, let's say you guys win this series, right? Who do you want to face the next round? Because we've seen you guys use a small ball rotation, not only in yesterday's game, but also in the round 1. Yeah. So would you rather face the Mavs, or would you rather face the Suns, who definitely have center depth, but we don't have a 100% Devin Booker?
Right. I mean, I would rather face the Suns for 2 reasons. Number 1, Devin Booker's not 100%.
Right.
And number 2, I think it would be a better series. And I think for basketball, it would be better. And so that's what I want to see. Though I guess you could argue more games with Luka is better for basketball too. But I do think the Suns are a better team. And you know, I love Devin Booker. I've known him for a very long time, originally from Granville, Michigan. So I love Debo too. I hope he gets back healthy. You know, everybody loves Chris Paul and, you know, wants that career achievement award for him to get it, you know, to get it once and get a title. But, you know, that aside, I still obviously want the Warriors to win this year and still think they will.
Right.
Yeah, I would rather face the Suns. And because, you know, truthfully, Book's not 100%. I know as good as he is and as good as Chris Paul is, Luka still scares me. I'll be honest. Like, all he does in playoff games, you know, big games, is put up like 33, you know, 8 and 9. You know, I mean, he it's what he does. So yeah, Luka scares me a little bit. I mean, it would be interesting if they do win and the Warriors could beat John Luka back to back, kind of like Steph saying, "Not yet, young fellas. I'm still here."
Right. And I have this feeling, and we've said this before, but I feel like just the age that their core is, you know, and you got Iggy back on the squad. I just, you know, it's kind of the original Golden State Warriors with a couple of pieces that, you know, we weren't used to seeing, but their core is still the same. Yeah. I think this year is it. before things start to change.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I that's why I said earlier. I feel, and I think they know that too. I think they obviously you would never say it publicly, but I think you recognize, like, hey guys, like, this team's missing a guy, this team's missing a guy, this team's missing a guy. Like, this is our chance. Like, we got to do this now. And I really do feel like the Warriors can continue to be smart. I think they're not going to hit, rock bottom, is because they're kind of bridging Steph, Clay, and Draymond into Jordan Poole, Wiseman, and Kuminga. And Peyton and Looney, and Looney's kind of right in the middle because he's kind of halfway between the young and the old. But I feel like this is their best chance. I feel like they know that, and I feel like it would verify, all of them. And obviously because they won championships before KD, but then it's like, oh yeah, you lose a 3-1 lead, and then all of a sudden you bring KD in. But now it's like, hey, we can do it without KD, and
right. I mean, they did it before without him. So
yeah, they won before without him. Now they're going to win after them. Hopefully, going to win after him. So just be like, hey, what's the thing about the Warriors is, which is why I like them so much, and I've liked them ever since Steph was there, because I've been a Steph fan ever since he was at Davidson. But they're, besides the KD thing, they really were a team that built it the right way. They drafted Clay, they drafted Draymond.
Right.
Thing that they won. Talk about the 73-9. Like, Harrison Barnes and Andrew Bogut were the other two starters. And no disrespect to either one of them, they're both good players, obviously, but it's not like they had, you stacked your team with all stars, right? So they just, they built the right way. They got lucky when Minnesota passed on Steph Curry not once but twice. For Rubio and Johnny Flynn, good call. But it's just they're built the right way, and they're a good team, and they play well together. And I thought that without Draymond in the second half was huge for them, but it kind of helped them. They kind of rallied around that, and they're kind of still today with the. I saw that the flagrant 2 wasn't rescinded, and Steph kind of had some joking. It was like, "Oh, shocking," like said it sarcastically.
You're right.
I think they're going to kind of rally around that. Oh, you think he's Draymond's got to change or that? Hey, we're going to do what we do. We got.
Well, I mean, as many years as he's been in the league, and as many technicals and as many flagrant fouls, I do not think Draymond Green is going to change.
Yeah.
Steve, thank you so much for coming on. Let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you, and I would love to see you back next week.
No problem. Thank you, Megan. And yes, they do have a game Monday, next Monday as well. So yeah, definitely will be on next week. I appreciate you being my technical issues.
No problem.
And yeah, so every Monday on the NBA Carousel, on Twitter, all eyes on you, the letter U, all eyes on you hoops. This past week I was on Cool's Draft Show. That was super fun. So hopefully I'll be on some more football stuff coming up, and hopefully the schedule works out. I'm still hoping to be on that awesome Cubs show too. So hopefully you'll see some more of me.
Awesome. Thanks, Steve. And we will see you next week.
Thank you, Megan.
All right, guys, we're going to go to our last rep. We have Joseph Jenkins, who's going to be covering the Mavericks. How are you, honey?
I'm very sorry. I get to run in my mouth with my family. I'm glad to be on. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Okay, so you guys, let's talk about how y'all finished up the round 1, and then we'll move into the series that starts tonight.
Yeah. The Mavs did a great job. They closed out a team that was pretty much reeling. And what you learned is you've seen a different development from Luka. Luka is playing a lot more team-oriented basketball. I think in the last time he was sitting out and he's seen them kind of compete with Utah for the first couple games, he started to trust them more. And, he's getting Dorian Finney-Smith involved. Of course, Luka steers the ship, but you've seen him defer a lot to Jalen Brunson. So they closed out the Utah Jazz in 6 games and at their home court, which is pretty impressive even more because you went on the road and ended their series at their house, which is pretty spectacular. So he's preparing for this series now.
Absolutely agree. And we've seen A couple of things that came out today that Rudy Gobert is probably going to demand a trade or demand that somebody else be traded, and D. Mitch. I personally feel like we're going to see Rudy Gobert be moved. Both of them are on super max contracts extensions. So either way, it's going to cost them some money, but time to break it up.
And, you know, I'll say this one comment. I lean more to Rudy's side because I think Donovan Mitchell does himself a disservice because Rudy is a pick and roll guy and he's a good guy off the bounce and trying to get those putbacks. And Donovan has the wherewithal to take it to the hoop. But 9 times out of 10, Rudy is open and on a better matchup, but he takes it to himself. And I think he's just tired of that. I think he's just tired of the fact that he has matchups and then Donovan doesn't even want to look his way. And I think Donovan doesn't look at himself and thinks that he's caused a lot of the turmoil that's happened in Utah. I think Donovan kind of always likes to point the finger at other people, and they're looking like, bro, we have accountability, but you have to have accountability for yourself. So Rudy's like, you know what? Let me get to a team. And I'm sorry to quote this guy because I know he used to be with your Spurs, but I think he would play with somebody like DeRozan who actually would pass it off to him if he was.
I like DeMar though. I think the way that DeMar left San Antonio was respectable, and I don't have any ill feelings towards DeMar whatsoever.
Fair point. You know, I don't. You know, with former Spurs players, you know, the passion that comes in.
I get a little spicy every now and then.
It comes out, girl. It comes out.
I love my squad.
You and Michelle Beater are my favorite Spurs fans.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so let's talk you guys versus the Suns. Game 1 is tonight in Phoenix. We did see Devin Booker come back in Game 6 of the Pelicans series, but we didn't see him at 100%.
I will say I think Jason Kidd understands the assignment because the first thing he said is he made note that his bigs are not playing against a team that's not going to utilize their bigs. He's playing against a team that has 2 bigs and DeAndre Ayton and JaVale McGee who are very productive. And I think, but I will say, I think Dallas believes that they can win this series. I think they believe in the core that they're using in their rotation. You know, they may not have the bigs, but Dorian Finney-Smith is a lockdown perimeter defender. He did a great job on Donovan Mitchell for majority of the series. And now he most likely will be matched up with Devin Booker, who is a little bit ailing. CP3 and Mike Conley are Luka Doncic. Mike Conley is not the Mike Conley of old, but Mike Conley is a Mike Conley that's still productive. And on a team, not Mike Conley, wow, I'm tripping. Never mind, scratch him off. But Jalen Brunson is definitely a guy that I think Luka is like, you know what? You can still match whoever has gone against you. And I don't think there's anybody. I think Luka is the best player in this series. I think Luka is the best player. I still think he's growing as a leader. And I think Jason Kidd and Monty Williams, Jason Kidd is going to be coaching his butt off in this game. And I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas wins game 1 tonight.
Okay. And then tell me how long you think this series is going to go. And tell me who you think is going to stand out besides Luka.
I think this series is going to go 6 games. And I think a guy that is going to stand out is the mayor, as Dom DeRubis says, from New Jersey and Detroit and Washington, Spencer Dinwiddie, coming off the bench. Because I think if there's ever a person that has a chance to kind of shine and really come in and give production, it's going to be him. You know, he's got to be coming in and giving them at least 15, 20 points a game, because what's going to happen is we know your stars are going to show up, but I think this presents a good chance for him to come in and really make a difference for the Dallas Mavericks.
I absolutely agree. I have to completely and totally agree. I feel like Spencer Dinwiddie is going to be a difference maker in this series. I will have to say I think the Suns have the edge. Obviously, they're the number 1 seed, and not that Jason Kidd hasn't coached before, but he's in his rookie season with this team. And so I feel like Monty Williams is better versed with his team. So I think that's going to be an edge for the Suns. But I think it's going to be an excellent season or a series, and probably 6 games. I'll agree with that. 6 games. But I'm going to go Suns.
But to a degree, I do think I think I'm gonna go Suns as well. But I kind of see this as a series, as like we just seen from Memphis and Minnesota, where it's going to be a very competitive 6-game series. It's going to be a blowout here and there. But I think Dallas thinks that they can handle playing with this team with the way they're playing right now. They may not win, but I think I can see them winning in games that they're supposed to win. If they don't win tonight, I could see them winning, holding serve when they get back home and get it 2-2.
Okay.
And then that's when Phoenix will take over and win game 3 at home and then go win the game 4 in Dallas. But, it's really, I think, Dallas has got a lot of people on their side right now. They're riding the high out here. Like people are buying and thinking that, you know what, with the emergence of Jalen Brunson, they can do it.
I agree. Brunson is going to be a piece that they need to lock in, hopefully, at the end.
Future Wizard, hopefully.
Future Wizard. Yes, I know you want him in DC. Well, Justin, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on. Let everybody know where they can find you and they can follow you, and we will see you back next week.
Well, thank you for having me. And yes, this is my Halloween costume. Of course, let me stop. But, you can find me on the NBA Carousel on Mondays. You can also find me on the Sip Off on Thursdays. And thanks to the great guys of Jay, Dom, James, and Tyler, I have been a co-host on the Gauntlet on Saturdays. I do make special appearances on Cool McCain's Play Callers show on Friday. And sometimes, whenever the time fits, I do have a chance to jump on the sports arena with you guys and really dive into those topics. Find me on Twitter. Find me on Facebook, JJ Jenkins. I'm always posting something about basketball, so you already know. Come on down.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much, Joseph, and we will see you back next week.
Thank you, and I will see you guys later.
All right, guys, that wraps it up for this week. Just a friendly reminder that the NBA Carousel is a Sideline Sports Network production sponsored by Score No Score app, by Manscaped. And don't forget to check out the Inscriber online magazine where you can get all your culture, technology, and sports news provided by Sideline Sports. Also, this Friday, WNBA season number 26 starts. Don't forget to watch the ladies as well. Thank you guys so much.